So this next session, part two, we'll be going to about 3 o'clock. My name is Joanna. I handle the strategy and operations for our customer success team here at LeagueApps. I've been part of the team for about 3.5 years. And before that, I was actually a LeagueApps customer. So I've been using this platform since 2014, I believe. So I've seen it evolve a lot. I've seen a lot of neat usage come about. I started on the product team here and now work with our partners, which is pretty awesome. So I'm going to start with communication. This is obviously an extremely important topic. It's a core part of our platform. We are a registrations platform at our heart, but once people register for a program, you have participants, you have this mass of staff members and players and parents and coaches. You need to be able to communicate with them. So we pride ourselves on really robust communication tools. I'm going to go through some of the really most valuable integral pieces of our messaging system in today's session. There's a lot more than what you see on the screen here. So if you want to dive deeper into ways you can optimize your messaging for your organization, please feel free to reach out to our team at support@leagueapps.com, and they'll be happy to dive into any of this with you. So for the next 25 minutes or so, I'm going to talk through some of the key messaging features on our platform, things that you should be checking on a yearly basis, making sure they're up to date, and a few ways to get the most out of our automation tools, and then use the messaging tools that are available to you to have clear communication with your customers and also keep your account nice and organized so you understand how effective your email deliverability is, and a lot of other items that will impact your business. So we'll first go through email settings. This is something you don't need to go crazy on, but I think it's good to check it once a year. It's where you set up your sender name and information like that. We have a lot of automated messages in the system that cut down on the manual work that you need to do. So it's important to know what those are and make sure that you're taking full advantage of them. So we have some automated default emails when registrations occur, so we'll go through those. And then we also have some automated reminders that help keep your participants in check when it comes to things like payment collection or making them aware of event occurrences. And then we'll go through our compose a message tool that's extremely powerful. It emails, it text messages, it can do both, and you can filter on almost any data point in the system, which is really neat. Invite to join. This is a tool we came out with about 2 or 3 years ago, I would say, and it's pretty much a targeted marketing tool within the platform. You're able to send invites from one program to another and track the invitation and the participant status throughout the whole process. And then lastly, we'll go through a member email cleanup exercise that I think is really important, especially if your account is, a few years old at this point. You may have customers that are no longer with your organization or that have created new emails and they have emails that are bouncing or that are unsubscribed or they're doing spam reports. So there are some really advanced tools that we've developed in the past year or two that give you insights into email deliverability and ways that you can actually remedy the problems. So not just point out the problems, but we'll show you how to fix them too. So I'm going to switch over here to the LeagueApps platform. So from here, we're going to go to the account email settings. So that is through the settings bar and then clicking on, not site settings. I want to go to email settings. So this page is pretty basic, should be easy to understand. This email sender item is just something that you want to make sure is up to date. I think everyone gets a lot of emails nowadays, and if it's coming from someone or some company that you don't recognize, you're most likely not going to open it. So if you're sending out important information to your participants or your coaches, you want to make sure that it's coming from a name that they will recognize. So right here, you have the name and then an email address. We also have template settings that will be applied to the emails that your account sends. So something like a payment reminder, if you want to give that a custom header or a footer, you can populate that design right in here. And then any email sent out from your account will have that custom header and footer. We have some partners that have really snazzed up their communications from this. It makes them look more professional. It establishes your brand a little bit more by using the specific colors and text that you like. So that is also another area that I think is really just a way to kind of level up your communications. The next is new member email settings. This is a message that would go directly to someone when they join your account for the very first time. So it could just be nice to say, welcome, we're happy to have you as part of our community, or this could be a chance to communicate some really important things, such as if you use another system for, say, scheduling, or I'm blanking on some other ideas, but you want to send addresses for your practice locations, or things like really important information for someone to know as soon as they join your organization. You could always put that in this member welcome email and make sure that they get it every single time someone signs up. So right here, this is your email settings page. Again, nothing that you need to maintain on a day-to-day basis, but we would recommend maybe every year or biannually checking this and making sure it is up to date. The next area that we're going to go into is automated emails. So the system sends many automated emails, from payment reminders, calendar reminders. If someone's payment fails, it will send a note. Every time someone registers, it will send a registration confirmation. So we are going to show how to customize some of those automated messages so that it can reflect your organization's voice, and you can also point out any important pieces of information that you may want your participants to have as they interact with your technology and your organization. So to get to your automated default emails, you go to settings and then registration settings. So I'm specifically going to talk about registration confirmation emails, which again, just go to settings and then registration settings. This is a pretty powerful page. I'm going to scroll over a lot of these settings, but we can definitely come back to them at another time. This is an important page to understand and digest if you're using the platform. Down here at the bottom, these are the messages that you can set, and this is your default registration settings. So if you guys were on the session earlier with Chris Kearney, he talked about default registration form fields. You can set up pretty much a template for your account, and that is what these messages are. This would apply to any new program you make. So these are your default messages. It's your standard, your template, whatever word you want to use. When you create a new program every season, that program will be created with these default messages and settings in place. And then you can customize them as needed. So what you would want to do with these default registration settings are configure them so they cover as wide of an array as programs as possible. And then when you're creating a program, all of those settings will be in place, and you just have to tweak them a little bit to get them exactly how you want. So the three messages here that are all automated are a successful registration message. So when someone registers for a program and it's successful. So if it's a paid program, that means they registered, payment was successful. If it's an unpaid program, it means they had a successful registration. Skipped registration message, this means that they started to register and they got to the end of the registration and did not complete it. So it kind of went through, but they did not get to the end. So this means that their payment is unresolved and they need to complete that in order for it to become a successful registration. And then the third, abandon, is when they start the process and then they just drop off. So they don't even get to the end, they just drop off in the middle. The system does save that activity so it can act on it, such as sending an abandoned registration message. And this is a way to, know someone was interested in joining a program and then they didn't, go all the way through the process to finalize that registration. So these are simple messages that we have here on our example site, but you can really make these as robust as you'd like, whatever works best for your organization and how you would like to communicate with your participants. So those are your automated registration confirmation messages. Again, you never have to push send on these. They're all automated for you. The next automated emails I'd like to review are reminders. So this really helps. I know it can be super time consuming when you're running multiple teams or multiple camps and you have games and practices and you have payments due at different times for different programs, and it would be somewhat impossible to manage all of that manually with email reminders. So our system does, I think, a really nice job of automating all of that for you. The logic that we have built in is pretty smart. You can customize the number of days that you want to send these reminders. So the first one that I'm going to go over, I'm going to navigate to a program, and then I'll go over the payment reminders. So on a program dashboard, I would go to settings and registration options. So this is the exact page that we were just on, but now this is specific to the program. So payment reminders, which is right down here with payment deadlines. If I had no payment deadline, then I'm not going to have the ability to send reminders. But once I enact a payment deadline, such as by the activity start date of September, I can send automatic reminders, and this is fully customizable. So I can send it 1 day, or I can send it 30 days in advance. This is a great way to just kind of automate things so that if anyone's unpaid, they will automatically get a reminder before the program starts. And again, you can configure this so it's within a certain amount of days of the registration start date, or it can be during registration, or by the activity start date. So this is the place where you would configure the, frequency of when you would send automatic reminders for payment deadlines. The other automatic reminder on the program level that I'd like to shout out is for calendar, game, and event emails. So right here on a program, I'm going to settings, preferences. And then on this page, this is where a lot of my calendar and schedule controls are. You'll see right here, game and event reminder email. Right here, you can uncheck this if you don't want people to get reminders. And then if you do, you obviously check it. So in the past few months, I'm sure a lot of people have already built out spring schedules, and then things came to a screeching halt, and you might not want to delete that entire schedule, but this is a way that you can kind of go in and uncheck the reminders that would be automated to your participants, just so they're not bothered with emails when there aren't actually events going on. But when we're operating as normal, and as you guys, think about your return to play strategy, checking this off when you build schedules, it's pretty helpful. I think the more reminders about scheduling, the better. And right here, you can customize it to send 1 through 5 days before the game or event. So that is another automated messaging feature that hopefully saves you a lot of time and also increases the communication that you have with your participants. So moving along, those were settings. So we talked about account email settings. We talked about automated default emails for registrations, and then also automated reminders for payments and for scheduling events. We're now going to move over to messaging tools. So how you can actually communicate with your players, your parents, your staffs, your coaches. So I think the most robust messaging tool we have is our Compose a Message tool, or sometimes we call it bulk messaging. So by clicking messaging, go to Compose a Message. And now this page, there's a lot of power behind all of these filters here. But before I go through the filters, I just want to scroll down a little bit. This gives you the option to email, or to email and text, or text only. So it's really nice that you can do all of this in one shot. I think especially for urgent messages such as a cancellation or something like that, that you really want to drive home, doing an email and a text at the same time is really valuable. For something that's a little more marketing based, you might just want to do an email only. So by choosing these, it kind of changes what you have down here to edit. So if you do email and text, you have your email box, and then you can also type out your text message here. One really neat feature is our email template tool. So right here, you can build templates within your account. We have right here a marketing template, a registration opening template. So if you want to promote that, like, hey, registration open for summer camp today, start registering, or a cancellation of a program or something like that. Any recurring communications that you want to send, that you want to brand and design a little bit, we recommend making a template, so then you can apply it to this message, tweak the details that you need, and you can send it out. So this is the email capability. You can also add files, attachments, images, and then text messages, as we all know, are obviously much simpler than emails, and this would just be text-based. What's nice is we have a built-in URL shortener, so you can put a pretty lengthy URL here, shorten it, and then include it in a text message, which is, I think, a really nice shortcut, especially if it's a program registration link or some long URL that would take up the entire text message page. You can shorten it, and it'll be about 8 characters or so. So that is the Compose a Message tool. Scrolling up a little bit, I do want to talk through the filters, because this page can get a little overwhelming, I think, but understanding just the capabilities that are at your fingertips here might really help you with your communication strategy. So filtering by site members, filter by programs and games, or send to admins only. I think probably the most used is programs and games, which means you're going to communicate to a singular program or multiple programs, or based on scheduling. So right here, you can even choose what programs are considered. I'm going to take off completed and unpublished, but you can filter it as far down as you'd like. So you can just choose field hockey. And if I left it like this, it would send to all field hockey programs. If I just wanted to do field hockey in the summer, I don't have any programs there, but you'll see field hockey in the fall, it would then just send to that program. If I want to do all sports, all seasons, you would keep that filter on, and then you have your full list of programs here. They're categorized based on whether they're upcoming or live. If I filled in completed, I can also see that. So say you were doing a huge marketing blast to everyone in your organization, I would suggest filtering on all programs here. But if it's something where it's just a seasonal announcement about something that's going on for current programs that are live, you could just do your live ones. So scrolling down a little bit, you can also exclude following programs, which I think is really helpful if you want to send to 90%, but you need to exclude 1 or 2. So you can also use this exclude following programs. And then the other feature here by games is really helpful, where you can filter between dates and times and also locations. So say Homewood Field, which I think is actually Johns Hopkins field name. That is, if say, they canceled all programs or all scheduled events for a weekend because of weather or a field issue, you could go in and say, I need to send a message to everyone that has a game at Homewood Field between June 11th and June 14th. So that targets it nicely for you. Lastly, there is a part down here about canceled games. So this is another way that we're kind of integrating the messaging with the calendar tool, which is really nice. So if you're sending a message about canceled games, it gives you the option to cancel the games as well on the schedule. So that is a compose a message tool. There's a view recipient count, which I think is pretty cool to show you how many people it's going to go to, which is also very helpful. So let me go to our next messaging tool, which is invite to join. This one is pretty neat. I think we introduced this about 2 years ago. So if I go and find a program and you hover over the people tab, there's this player invites drop down. You also, if you're just on the people page, there's a button. So there's multiple ways to get to it. And once I click that, you're brought to this page, and there's 2 tabs here: players invited to this event, and then send players invites to other programs. So the way you can use this tool is really, I like to think of it as a targeted marketing tool, but I think the biggest use case that we see is from tryout to club team. So if you have people come to the tryout, and we're actually in a tryout program, which is cool. So I'm going to look at who came to this tryout, and then I'm going to send them an invitation to join Boys Elite. Right here, I can see that Johnny, Timmy, Chris, and Doug have not been invited yet, and then Wellington has been invited. Let's say Timmy performed awesome, and so did Doug, but Johnny and Chris didn't do so hot. I can select those 2 and then invite them. I can write a custom message here and click invite. I'm going to skip the message. This is our test site, so it's okay that I'm actually inviting them. And then you'll see here that while I'm looking at 2027 Boys Elite, Wellington, Timmy, and Doug are all invited, and their status is pending. This tool tracks the invitation through 3 stages: pending, accepted, and rejected. So once Wellington registers for Boys Elite, this would turn to accepted. Let's say Timmy rejects it and does not register, he rejects the invitation, then this would turn to rejected, and then pending would just stay until the person responds. When you message, you can also follow up to the players that have pending invitations, which is really nice. So this is, again, really useful for tryouts to club teams, but the other way it's really useful is season over season or year over year. So if you manage a big camp business and you have all of your registrations from 2019 summer camp, you can find your 2019 summer camp program and then invite, just, multi-select everyone if you want to invite everyone, and then find your, register for it. You find your 2020 summer camp program and invite them all. So, and you can write a message that is a little bit more marketing focused here, such as, we're back for another great summer. We loved having you last year. We hope you join us again this year. So that's a marketing way to use this tool. And then you can also use it when you just need your, current participants to accept registrations for new programs. Another way we see it used is for travel teams. If you, as the organizer, have people register per tournament they attend to pay the tournament fees, you may want to use this invite to join tool to invite them to that tournament registration. And that's another way you can kind of track the activity and who's accepted. So this tool, invite to join, very powerful. Again, go to your program, go to people, player invites, or from the players page, you can click player invites right here and it'll bring you over. And then I really focused on this tab, but this other one, players invited to this event, it's just the inverse. So it's looking at this team and who has been invited, and then you can filter per status. All right, so we're gonna go to our final topic. That I think is actually extremely beneficial: member email cleanup. So I'm going to go over to manage members. And then what we have here is the ability to filter on email status. So right here, this is my manage site members, my full member page. When I click here, you can see email statuses as okay, reported spam, email bounced, invalid address, subscribed, and unverified. The most problematic ones are bounced and unsubscribed. I'm sure anyone listening has had a parent or an athlete call them up and say, I'm not getting your emails, or I missed that email. We have a way for you to now actually check on that and remedy if there is an issue. So what I will look at are unsubscribed for the sake of this session. I'll click apply filter. Now it's giving me a list of everyone that has unsubscribed from the emails that are sent out of this LeagueApps account. So if we take a look at Arden, you'll see the unsubscribe right here. You have this export to CSV option if you want to use it. If you just want to, if you have someone on your team that could help you with this process, could be something you do monthly or maybe quarterly, do an unsubscribe audit. So filter it, export them, digest what is going on, and then to remedy the situation, you can go to the member's actual profile. And right here, you'll see on the left sidebar, email status is unsubscribed. The suppression event occurred on November 19, 2019. So you can actually also pinpoint the day that they unsubscribed or bounced. You can view the suppression event, and then you can also set email status to okay. So if I click that, it gives me the option to pretty much resubscribe this person. So I just did that, and now you'll see that he is no longer unsubscribed. You want to be careful about doing that against someone's wishes. We do not recommend going in and resubscribing people that have unsubscribed unless they pointedly are asking you to do so. There are some regulations around email deliverability, and anyone having the ability to opt out. So that's really important. But we do find some confusion sometimes that some people use LeagueApps to send marketing emails, but as I touched on, there's a lot of important automated emails and program payment specific emails. If someone unsubscribes from your account, it unsubscribes them from everything. So someone may get a marketing email from you and unsubscribe and then not realize that they also unsubscribed to the payment reminders and things like that. The other way people can also solve it is by logging into their member portal profile and viewing that here, and then they can opt back into their email deliverability this way as well. So, sorry about that. Having some mouse trouble. Let me see here. So jumping back over, just again, go to manage members. And then from here, you have your email status. The other important one to look at is email bounced right there. And then this would mean that the email associated with the member's account is actually undeliverable. So that is almost more problematic than the unsubscribes, because the unsubscribed is a feature that the member is actually opting out of, where the email bounced means that there's something wrong with the email and it's invalid and we cannot deliver the message. So that is the member email cleanup exercise. Again, going to manage members and then filtering on email status. You can export this list and then investigate each person that is having email deliverability issues. One other area that I would love to just point out is messaging view all sent emails. This is a way to track a little bit further messages that are sent. You see the send date, you see the status of them, the number of emails sent, and then you can also look at the tracking details that are present there. And this gives you an overview of the statuses that are queued, processed, delivered, bounced, deferred, or dropped. So we'll see here, again, this is our test site, so some of the data is a little bit funky. At fakeemail.com, definitely not a real email, and because of that, the status was bounced. But in real instances, you'll see engagement here, and it can show you if they are open, if they've opened it, or if they've clicked as well. So that is our demo of our communication tools. I'm going to hop back over here and touch available to them as a LeagueApps partner or part of our larger community. From here, we'll talk through we just talked through communication tools on how you can communicate with your community. These resources on the screen right now are ways that we like to communicate with you, and different ways for you all to explore resources that we make available. So the first one is the LeagueApps blog. I do want to point out, in the management console on the dashboard, if you scroll down, there are quick links to product updates, our support site, and then also our blog. So we've been publishing a lot of content over the last few weeks. Make sure you check in there. We have a lot coming out of this Next Up Return to Play virtual series, a sports coalition that we're a part of and leading, that it's great resources, especially about navigating the pandemic. Second, the Events Hub. This is events.leagueapps.com. We have events all of the time. We used to have a lot in person. We've adjusted and are doing a lot online now. And this LeagueApps learning session, like you're in right now, we post everything on events.leagueapps.com. So bookmark it, check it out weekly. There's always fun stuff going on for industry insights, best practices, and engaging with the community. If you have ideas for events, let us know. We're pretty much open to anything. The third is a YouTube channel. This is an area where we have a lot of product tutorials, and then also a lot of recorded content from events that we host. So if you're ever struggling or want training for people in your organization on how to use LeagueApps, check out our YouTube channel. We have a whole playlist that's dedicated to new LeagueApps admin training. It's a 4-part series. So if you hire new staff, you can include that in your onboarding plan. Watch the LeagueApps playlist for new admins. Fourth, the Next Up Slack community. This is a few months old, and it's going amazing. For those of you that don't know about Slack, it's an online communications tool. We use it at LeagueApps. It is an integral part of our business. We created a Next Up Slack community for anyone in the sports world. We have organizers, we have other sports tech platforms on it, national governing bodies. It's a place to go, crowdsource ideas, share best practices, a lot of activity in it over the past few weeks. There are waivers being shared about COVID-19, return to play strategies, so definitely encourage you to check it out. And then support channels. Our team is here 365 days a year. You can reach us via email, chat from the LeagueApps management console, or through support.leagueapps.com. We are here to help guide you and answer any questions that come up. So with that, I'm right up around 3 o'clock. We are so thankful for everyone that has joined. The next session that is coming up at 3:30 p.m. today is called Your Software Starting Lineup. I know I'm personally really excited about it. We have Doug Moore, our VP of Product at LeagueApps, and then Bharat Chopra, General Manager of our Integration Center. They are both leading an extremely exciting initiative about building an integration marketplace and a way for LeagueApps to help you build your technology and the softwares that we're using. So I won't give away too many more details, but we hope you all join us at 3:30 for that session. And we hope today's content was extremely helpful. And if we can ever be helpful in the future, please reach out to us at support@leagueapps.com. Thank you all so much, and have a wonderful afternoon.